And here's another mistake that I see so many property investors make, and you do not want to fall foul of this. House prices are falling in 2024. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 ways to avoid negative equity this year. So we're going to see house price falls in 2024, and when house prices falls, you start to see negative equity. What is negative equity? Negative equity is when the value of your house is less than the mortgage debt you have outstanding on it. Now, if you are a new property investor, then this may be new territory for you, because we haven't seen negative equity since the aftermath of the last financial crash, 2008 onwards. Now, one of the reasons there was a lot more negative equity round about that time was that, of course, mortgage lending was a little bit slacker back then than it is now. Back then, of course, people were getting 100% mortgages. Now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to realize that if you've got 100% loan and the property value falls just a little bit, then immediately you're in negative equity. Those days of slack mortgage lending are pretty much over. These days you need much more deposit. The days of 100% loans are gone. For residential homeowners, you tend to have to pick a repayment mortgage. For buy-to-let borrowers, the deposit is far higher. So you're unlikely to fall into negative equity for those reasons. But how can you fall into negative equity? I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you can fall into negative equity in 2024, and also how to avoid them. So here's the first reason how you can find yourself in negative equity. It is actually those pesky mortgage lenders, and in particular their arrangement fees. Now, when I started investing in property, if I applied for a buy-to-let loan, I would have arrangement fees of some of them were £295, that sort of level. And then they started charging arrangement fees, which were a percentage of the loan. Today, there are arrangement fees which are as much as 7% of the amount borrowed. And there's a reason why they're doing that on buy-to-let loans, because they're playing around with the Financial Conduct Authority's rules on lending. Now, here's the thing. When you take out a buy-to-let mortgage, you have to demonstrate that you have a certain rental coverage. That means your monthly rental income more than covers the amount of monthly mortgage interest that's payable. Now, recently, of course, mortgage interest rates have gone up quite a lot, and this has meant that it's very, very hard in a lot of areas for buy-to-let properties to simply stack up under the FCA's rules for having the appropriate rental coverage. So what mortgage lenders have done is they've just massaged the system, because the arrangement fee is not covered by the affordability check. So what they do is, let's say they're offering you a 3-year fixed rate loan. They'll keep the interest rate lower so that your rental coverage stacks according to FCA rules. But they'll make their money by charging a massive admin fee. As a result, you kind of see some admin fees sneak up to 7%. So why is this a problem? Well, if I take out a 100 grand loan and I've got a 7% admin fee, that's £7,000. That £7,000 is added to the loan. Now, if I've taken a 3-year fixed rate loan, at the end of that 3-year period, I've got to refinance that property. And I've got to and the loan I've got to refinance is not 100 grand now. It's now 100 grand plus the 7% admin fee, which means I've now got to refinance it at £107,000. So what happens in 3 years' time if the value of that property hasn't risen? If the value of that property has stayed the same, then you're pretty much stuffed. You're in negative equity space. So watch out for the impact of high arrangement fees on negative equity, because those fees are added to the loan. And if property prices don't increase in that period, you can be stuffed. Smash that like button. It shows your appreciation. It shows your love. It helps us out on YouTube. Also, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out when we upload our content, which is pretty much 3 times a week now. The second way to avoid negative equity is, well, Don't buy new builds. New build properties are pretty much like brand new cars. You buy a brand new car, you drive it off the forecourt, you've lost value straight away. Why? Because it's second hand. It's the same thing for a new build house or new build flat. People pay a premium for a new build house. Maybe because they can select the tiles in the bathroom or what have you, or maybe because they just like the idea of being the first people to move in and occupy that property. New builds are fine in a rising market. In fact, new builds can make you a lot of money in a rising market. If you buy a property off plan, so the property isn't exactly built yet, the market is rising each year by double-digit inflation and all the rest of it. So you buy a property off plan, you put down a deposit today, it's not to be built until 18 months' time when you complete on the property. You can make some good money because the price has risen, the value has risen in the time that you're waiting for the property to be built out. But this is not the time for all of that. You're not going to make any money buying off plan. You're not going to make any money buying new build properties because the market isn't rising. It will rise eventually, but it's not rising in the short to medium term. That means that when you buy a new build property, it's like that new car, it loses value immediately. Are you struggling to find your next commercial to residential conversion project? Well, over the next 2 years, virtually every UK bank branch will close. Banks are fabulous buildings in prime locations, and thanks to permitted development rights, they're really easy to convert to alternative uses under a light touch planning regime. My team have put together a list of over 500 UK bank branches which are poised for imminent closure. And for a limited period only, you can download this list absolutely free. Your next commercial property project is on this list, so download it now and enjoy the rest of the video. And you can also lose money buying property at full market value. Owner-occupiers do that. Owner-occupiers are often driven by emotion and need as opposed to investment. They need to be near to their family and friends or the school that little Johnny is going to go to. And those emotional needs outweigh any investment reason for buying a property. And those guys often pay market value. But you are an investor. You are in the property business. And if you're in any business, what you don't do is buy your raw product at full market value. You'll buy your raw product at wholesale value, at trade value, maybe do something to it, add some value to it before you create the value in it. That's what business people do, and that's what you do when you're in the property business. And that's what you absolutely have to do to make sure you avoid negative equity in 2024. You've got to get used to making cheeky offers. I've said before, it's a buyer's market. That means there are more sellers than there are buyers. That means some of those people are very, very keen indeed to get a sale quickly. As time goes on and you don't realize a sale of your property, you get more and more motivated because everyone wants to sell their property for a reason, to get on with the next stage of their life. And if the property has been on sale for 3 months, 6 months, and it hasn't found a buyer, then the seller gets more and more motivated. What you need to do is to find those motivated sellers who want to move more than they want the maximum price for that property. Get used to making cheeky offers in all aspects of your life. Go to a pound store and try to buy something for 75p. Go to a restaurant and ask for a discount. Make it part of your mindset that you are looking to purchase stuff at below market value. If you are afraid to put in an offer because you think it's too cheeky or too insulting or too whatever, then you will never win at this game of property investing. And here's another mistake that I see so many property investors make, and you do not want to fall foul of this. 2024 is a buyer's market, it's a falling market. So what people do is they will look at a particular property deal and they'll see the price that it's offered with, and they will compare it against what those properties were selling for 6 months ago or a year ago. And they'll say, this is a great deal. I can get this property for 110 grand. These were selling for 120 grand a year ago. And that is wrong, 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 because you will lose money if you think like that. What you have got to do is not look to the past, but look to the future. Remember, this is a falling market. So experts are predicting that in 2024 prices could fall by up to 10%. So you need to be looking at, well, what is this property going to be worth in 1 year's time? And you've got to be forward buying at that price today. You look at property from that perspective and you start to get good deals and you start to insure against falling into negative equity. How worried are you about negative equity in 2024? Let me know in the comments below. Smash that like button and also subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when we upload our new content. Now, the third way to avoid negative equity in 2024 is really something that all property investors should be doing on all properties they buy in any market. But the thing is, it gets easier to do this in a buyer's market. Now, let me explain. What you want to be doing is buying properties that you can add value to. So you're buying properties not only from motivated sellers, not only by putting cheeky offers in, not only by forward buying at prices that you think they're going to be worth in a year's time, but also properties that you can add value to. Now, when the market's booming, what tends to happen is the price differential between an A1 property and a shabby property that needs fixing up, it diminishes. It's virtually non-existent. And that's simply because that in a seller's market, anything sells. There aren't enough sellers for the number of buyers that are out there. So people will compromise. They'll pick up a shabby property and they'll pay near A1 values for them. Now, when the seller's market changes to a buyer's market, of course, the opposite happens. You know, there are loads of sellers, but there are fewer buyers. So those buyers are going to be far more choosy about the types of properties that they're going to pick. They're going to want the best properties in the best areas. And anything that is shabby or in a slightly lesser location, the differential between that and the ones at the top will increase. Now, here's the thing. You pick up shabby properties in decent, well-located areas and you simply make them non-shabby. New bathrooms, kitchens help quite a lot. And also the big hitter is layout changes. There's so many older properties that aren't laid out that well. Perhaps the staircase is in the wrong place. Perhaps it's got an oversized bedroom with multiple windows that can be chopped into two. What you're doing with layout changes is this. You're taking a property, usually which is large, has a lot of floor space, lot of square meterage, which is poorly laid out, and you're looking at your target rental market. So if your target rental market is, say, a house in multiple occupation, individual rooms, you will be looking to reconfigure that house to get the maximum room lets out of it so that you get the maximum rental income out of it. And there are so many opportunities with properties like that in a market like this. So to wrap up then, in a falling market, negative equity is back. You want to avoid it. Be wary of high admin fees on buy-to-let mortgages. Don't buy new builds or off plans or properties at full market value, and aim for properties that you can fix up, because the shabby properties will be available at the deepest discounts. Hope you enjoyed this video. Comment, tell me what you think in the comments below. Also like and subscribe to us for more content like this. See you guys in the next video. The Baker Street Property Meet is the UK's largest and #1 property investors networking event. The property market is going through monumental change right now, and at Baker Street Property Meet we aim to keep you up to date with the latest tips and tricks and insider tactics to help you keep on top of your property investing game and succeed in these troubled economic times. The Baker Street Property Meet is fundamentally about networking, because it's not what you know, it's who you know. And at Baker Street, we aim to connect you with the people to make your property journey a monumental success. There's no better place to be to further your property investment journey than the Baker Street Property Meet. So make sure you're here, you're connecting with myself and Andrew Roberts, our expert guest speakers, and 300 passionate property people each and every month. See you at the next meet. Get your spot at bakerstreetpropertymeet.com. And be reasonable.